Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to do a range review or range test report on the custom TYMP Zombie Slayer PSA Dagger that you all helped me build. If you remember, I did some videos where I had everybody help me choose what parts we used to build this gun, and now it's completed and we're going to be giving it away soon. And I wasn't going to test it. I was going to just leave it virginal until I actually gave it away. But people said, you should test the gun, make sure it works before you give it away, since you're not that familiar with PSA. Now, we do have one other PSA in the house. My son built one, or actually we have two PSAs, but we have one more Dagger, and it's the one my son built for himself. I took it out, tested it. It was just fine. He's tested it. I tested it for accuracy the other day, testing it to sight in the red dot. Worked great. So I had no reason to believe this one would be different. So I took it down to the range and I put 100 rounds through it. Now, why 100 rounds, you might ask? Well, because I wasn't trying to wear it out. I just wanted to make sure it worked. And you don't have to wear guns in these days, so that wasn't an issue. So I shot a mix through it of mostly Federal ammunition and some Minuteman ammunition, which I thought I had a lot more of, but it seems my son has gone through a lot of my 9mm recently, but that's another story. And I also shot some Underwood Extreme penetrators in it because those are what I usually carry if I carry a 9mm. So I wanted to make sure it worked with my 9mm carry ammo. If you end up winning this gun, you're going to want to make sure it works with your carry ammo also. Now, before we get into how the gun actually functioned at the range, let's talk a little bit about the gun itself. It is a PSA Dagger. It is a full size. It has the zombie green grip. It has a cut slide. I do believe this is the SW5 or something like that. And it is in a gray finish, and it is cut for a red dot, and it has suppressor height sights in the front and rear, and it does have a threaded barrel for a suppressor. All right, as far as fit and finish on this gun is concerned, this gun is nice. I actually think they're better than Glocks. It's actually well put together. So when you're actually out shooting it, you can tell it's well made. It's solid. In fact, it feels more solid than a Glock. It actually felt a little smoother than my Glocks when it came to how it cycled. Everything about it just seemed a tiny bit more fluid and a tiny bit more solid. Now, since it is not an actual Glock, it's kind of a faux Glock, the grip angle is just a lot better on this gun. I like the way it's cut underneath here for my palm better. I like the way the grip is shaped better. I like the way it's cut for my fingers better. This gun just fits my hand a lot better than a regular Glock. And I think that'd be true with a lot of people, but your experience might differ. But as far as comfort, ergonomics, I just thought this gun was, like I said before, just a little bit better than a Glock. Now, as far as accuracy was concerned with this gun, it was very accurate. Now, I can't say it was any more or less accurate than a Glock. It was as accurate as I can shoot. It did very well. I was able to ping the steel anytime I was trying to ping the steel, able to make a nice little group when I wanted to make a nice little group. So, very accurate gun. It seems like it's right on target. When I lined up the sights to make sure that they were set from the factory, it seemed like they were right on at about 20 yards. I had to kind of back up the hill and shoot at 20 yards to see when they were right on. When I was shooting up close, I had to compensate just a little bit for the height of the sights and being so close. So keep that in mind when you get this gun if you're the winner, because these are suppressor height sights, and at close range, you need to take that into account. All right, now let's talk about the most important factor. How did this gun function? Was it reliable? And I'm going to have to say, not a single failure in 100 rounds. Not when I would just put 1 round in the magazine, not when I would put 5 rounds in the magazine, and not when I would fully load the magazine. And I like to test magazines that way because I have a lot of guns that if you only put 1 round or 5 rounds in it, they will either fail to feed or fail to eject. This didn't seem to care how many rounds were in the magazine. It functioned flawlessly every time. Every time I pulled that trigger, this gun went off. Now, I do only have the 1 magazine for it, so luckily, that 1 magazine seems to be in great condition and seems to work very well because, like I said, didn't have a single problem with this gun at the range. Not once did it fail to go boom, and I don't even think I missed a target with it once, and for me, that's saying something. So as you can tell from this review, overall, I'm very happy with this gun. So far, I would give PSA very high marks. Now, I've only owned a few of them now, and I've only really test fired 3 now, and I'll be doing a test on another gun here soon. But so far, top marks. I like them every bit as good as the Glocks they emulate. Now, the next gun I'll be testing is a Rock 5.7, so we'll see how that stacks up to the other 5.7 competition. But as far as how this gun stacks up to a Glock, so far, it's doing awesome. And if you remember, I did a video where I compared them mechanically to each other, just, quality of the parts, fit of the parts, structural integrity, etc. And I thought this gun was a little bit better than a Glock when I did that. And after shooting it, mainly because of the grip angle, I'm going to say I also think it shoots a little better than a Glock. Now that I've sung its praises, I do have one negative thing about this gun, one flaw, and that is the trigger. Now, as far as the trigger itself is concerned, there's a little sponge there, just like there is with a Glock. Now, this one doesn't function exactly like a Glock inside, I don't think, but it's still very similar in feel to a Glock trigger. A little bit of clunk to it there, but, feels really good. I can't say that it's any worse than a Glock. I just wouldn't say that it's better either. And the reset is very Glock-like. It's not the actual function of the trigger I have a problem with. My main problem with it is the actual design. As you can see there, it's very much like an old Smith & Wesson trigger. It's a 2-piece trigger with a hinged bottom. I don't like that. I didn't like when Smith & Wesson did it. I don't like it when this one has it. It feels like you're going to break it almost every time you pull the trigger. I just don't care for it. That'd be one thing I would definitely change if I was going to keep this gun. And since it takes pretty much any Glock trigger, it won't be hard to replace that. So in conclusion, this gun is awesome. I think it is worth every penny I paid for it and then some. Let's hope I make some of that money back for Pets and Vets and for TYMP before I give it away. If you want to be in the running for this gun, just be a member of SubscribeStar. If you're on a $5 tier, you get 1 entry, $10 tiers, you get 2 entries, and then when you get into the $20 tiers, you get 5 for every $20. So 1 entry for every $5 up until you hit 20, and then it's 5 for every $20. So you get multiple entries. There's no limit on how many entries you can have. And people who do tips on SubscribeStar can get extra entries. Now remember, when you sign up over there, if you want to support TYMP, pretty much every tier does that except for the TYMP Pet Defender tier. That supports Pets and Vets. That way you can support whichever one of our main programs you want to support and still be registered to win the gun. So go over there, get entered. This is a really nice gun. I'm surprised at how good it is. I took a long time to try Palmetto State Armory, and I'm happy I did. I actually kind of wish I was keeping this one because we all know I like zombie green stuff. So I wish this gun was going to be mine, but it's actually going to be one of yours. And once we know who has it, who's won this gun, like I said in another video, I will custom engrave the plate here if you want me to. We can put TYMP, the Yankee Marshal Posse, whatever, Zombie Slayer, whatever you want to put on top there. I have a laser engraver, we'll put it on there. But this right here is the gun we'll be giving away very soon. It is my PSA Dagger Zombie Slayer.